To start this off, at the top of the lunch hour, we are going to give away gear right away. So we have various Pro Church Lights customers that we're giving away gear to. These were customers who were part of our Friends of PCL Share Your Story of sorts, where we got feedback from their team, we did a little bit of storytelling, and that is who we're giving away gear to. So we have a large list of customers who were involved with that. Frank has a number generator that he's utilizing. You guys are in a big list. So he's gonna kick that off. Go ahead, Frank, and we'll do a number, and we'll see who gets the first prize. The first prize is $250 in PCL cash towards any fixtures or training from Pro Church Lights.
All right, and number 19.
19, that's Hillsdale United. So Vince is over there.
Vince.
So Frank knows Vince. So congrats on that, $250.
Congratulations.
Next, we'll do the same thing. We'll do another $250.
All right.
PCL cash towards fixtures or training.
Okay, let's go. Number 9.
Number 9, Mount Pleasant Missionary, Deanna. All right.
Oh, nice.
That's great. Where's Deanna at? What state? You remember? Is it Michigan?
A lot of churches.
I know. Okay. All right, moving up. $500 we're giving away in PCL cash towards fixtures or training from Pro Church Lights or a wall panel One Universe system. So whoever gets this, if you don't have a wall panel, the Wall Panel Pro is perfect to insert into your auditorium and be able to just have at a push of a button, bring up scenes of your auditorium lights. So let's go ahead and see who gets this one.
Okay, who we got? Number 11.
11. Covenant Christian Church, David.
David. Oh, yeah, David. Oh, man. Nice.
So, David, hope you're on.
Yeah.
Congrats. If you're not, we'll still give you the prize. We'll send you an email. Okay, last one, grand prize. So, grand prize winner here gets a choice of items. Choose from 4 Pro Kicks, the Pro Church Lights Pro Kick fixture, which is an RGBW wash fixture, perfect for backlight. So choose from 4 of those, or 4 Stealth Zoom moving heads. That's the ADJ Stealth. Beautiful little moving head, nice little fixture. Or choose from 4 ProBlind 2-pop blinders. These are LED blinders that you can use as just additional set pieces. So you have those, and actually, let's throw in one more thing, a date with Frank Chabelle.
My wife would not like that. I'm happily married, 4 kids.
Well, it could be a lunch date with any of the guys
There you
out
go.
there. But we'll just keep it to the lights. We'll spare Frank. So let's go ahead and roll that and
All right.
see who is the winner of those.
Okay, who we got? Number 18.
18, okay. Hope Hill Church, Nathan.
Nathan. Nice.
All righty. So there you guys have it. Gear giveaway. Thank you very much for all the PCL family who's involved or who was involved with that initiative. Love you guys out there. Thanks for choosing Pro Church Lights. If you're not a part of the PCL family, hey, we are here with open arms. We're trying to build a community here, and we're here honestly to help. Churches across the nation, even the world. We've serviced churches in Jamaica, the Caribbean, Ethiopia, different parts of Europe, of course our friends north of us in Canada. So we're here for you guys. Any questions you have, I do want to remind you, please go ahead and put them in the live chat within YouTube. So we'll kick off our lighting lunch hour. Once again, I am Craig, this is Frank. And let's get into it. So we're talking about color theory here. And color, real quick, we'll do this for about 45 minutes, so you guys just have a gauge on time. It'll also be recorded. So color theory within stage lighting. Color is something that is powerful, right? No matter what situation in our lives every day, we're surrounded by color. It's a beautiful thing. So we're going to talk about the mood and feel of our color basics. We're then going to go into our tips and tricks to creating colorful combinations with just the beautiful colors that are available to us. We'll then go into some programming examples of just creating these color palettes within our programming systems, whether using LightKey, Onyx, Vista, MA, or other systems. We'll do a little bit of demo on the programming side of things, and then we'll open it up to live Q&A. So with the live Q&A, any lighting question is valid, and if it's color related, great. If it's not, bring it on. We're here to answer the questions you have. So let's talk about mood and feel. I'm gonna click through a couple slides here, just showing you some pictures, and it'll show you how just color impacts our thoughts. So our first slide, go ahead, Gabe, and bring that up, and we'll just look at it for a moment. So nice and white, clean. Maybe what came to mind is glory, clean, a big finish. Let's go to another one. Probably Christmas, right? Like red and green. Maybe shouldn't use red and green combos outside of Christmas, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Got a broken link there, so we'll skip that one. But spring, Easter, pastels, just, like just nothing vibrant, but just those beautiful spring Easter colors. Here's another one. Just think of a word that comes to mind when you see it. It might be warm or intimate, maybe acoustic. Here's another one. Edgy, maybe rock concert, extreme. Here it is. So here we have variety of color, festival party, maybe that hit your mind. And last one, we have green. Avoid green. Frank put that slide in there. Green's an interesting color choice, just because it doesn't do well on skin tones, but in certain circumstances, absolutely use green. It's usually safer not to, but once again, we're talking about color here, and a lot of it is discretionary. And we want to use colors that fit the moment, aren't distracting, and just play well with what is happening in the worship environment. There's colors and choices that could be done that muddy things, and there's definitely colors that can enhance moments. So we'll move into just how to create excellent color combos. A lot of this you guys may be already doing. I hope you are. It may be a little bit of a no-brainer, but it's looking at motion backgrounds. So ProPresenter or Proclaim, whatever system you're using to drive your video graphics, and then where you're downloading those motion backgrounds from, utilize those as inspiration. So a great thing to do is print out a color cheat sheet or save it as a PDF to the desktop on your lighting machine. Here's just a cheat sheet example, and you can use this as a starting point. One, for creating color combos, or two, just choosing from a large list of backgrounds that you've kind of narrowed down that you like, and being able to come up with things that work well. Also, you want your lighting to work with your video. Think of video as an extension of lighting. So those should be used together. Once again, a very simple kind of no-brainer thing is use the motion backgrounds as inspiration and creating color combinations from that. Create cheat sheets, put together a list of just the backgrounds you use commonly, and build from there. It is difficult for anyone, artists, lighting designers, anyone, to just sit there with an open mind and just start randomly coming up with color. It just takes longer to develop it. So if you have a little spark of inspiration in front of you, it just helps you nail it faster. That keeps you more efficient, helps you accomplish the job quicker, and produces just a greater outcome because you're prepared. So here's just a couple examples of just color schemes with the motion background in the background. So here we have a warmer tone background, and we're matching the lights to that. Ambers and yellows and a little bit of whites. Here's another one, so kind of a seafoam. Instead of going harsh green, go seafoam green. Mix a little bit of blue in there, a little bit of white, and it's a fresh color, especially right now. This is a fresh color. And when you match that with white on builds, like that creates a powerful moment when the worship team is in a big transition point or building. That could be a powerful combination, seafoam and white. Here we go. These are pretty heavy contrast colors. You have blue, you could see in the cross, and then orange on the background. So the lights are just reflecting that. We have that bluish light on the curtain in the back, and then in the moving heads and the floor kick, we have that orange color. But once again, it's two colors, and it matches well, and everything looks cohesive. Alrighty. I'm going to kick it over to Frank to talk about another source of inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so another great location to find inspiration in terms of, color combinations or even just general looks or kind of a vibe for programming lights at church is checking out music videos. So for me, I love music, I love worship, so it's a great combination together. So I'll oftentimes at home, during kind of chill moments or I'm hanging out with my kids, we'll play some worship music on our TV off of YouTube. And kind of a funny thing, my eldest, she always asks me, Daddy, did you do those lights? And I'm always like, someday, sweetie. But anyway, yeah, music videos are great. So we have a slide here from one of my personal favorite worship songs from the past couple of years, and also a great source of inspiration for me. It's Waymaker, performed by Leland. And if you look at the slide here, you notice these beautiful ambers coming from their incandescent blinder fixtures, their the really white really white light coming from their profile fixtures, and really like dim front light. So I'm not advising it looking like this every single Sunday. However, you see a really beautiful and very warm and really, I feel like a really inviting worship lighting look. So I definitely have utilized this for a couple songs for inspiration. Now, this is one look that I also have taken and I've changed maybe the hue. So even though I might not be doing the amber, I've certainly tried using, with my LED RGBWs, let's shift to maybe like a cyan, or let's try maybe a red for a really passionate song. So Lion the Lamb, that's another one that my personal style, I love using warm and passionate colors for really passionate songs, and then shifting it to maybe even cooler songs cooler color hues for maybe like more introspective and more almost like hymn style songs. So all that to say that it's not a hard or fast rule, but consider the color and the emotion that comes with it when you're getting inspiration from your music videos.
Yeah, and we want to be intentional with everything we do, right? So a little bit of thought, using color intentionally, that goes a long way. So as you are going into your programming sessions or creating new scenes or looks based on even this upcoming week's worship set, just keep it in mind to look around you for inspiration, look at your backgrounds. Don't be scared to try new things. Now there are definitely some situations which we would say, maybe use with discretion or avoid even.
Yeah.
I think with color, keeping it simple allows you to create very beautiful lighting looks very quickly. And there's no reason to use 4+ colors in a lighting setup. You should probably be most weekends or most songs just hanging around 2 colors within each song. So you can use as many colors as you want throughout all your different songs and have some variety. But when you're programming a song, 2 colors. And also using white as like a big moment or a transition is powerful. So I think it's just keeping it simple. There's no reason to use every color in the book. It ends up just detracting, it becomes distracting, and it also detracts just from the overall polished look of what we're just trying to create. I mean, we're trying to create an intimate space, a beautiful space, and just a place where people are comfortable and can worship. And if we have that party look going on with every color in the book or lights just flashing colors, that is distracting. And keeping it simple goes a long way. So just want to emphasize that.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. So just to kind of even like maybe get a little pastoral for a second, that's okay. As technical artists, that's a term I like to use for people that do production at church. Like Craig said beautifully, that like we're here to help create a beautiful atmosphere, and something that if you want to serve your church and serve your church well, something that I always imparted to lighting designers or church volunteers over the years has been like using intentionality to help create a distraction-free environment, because this might be this might be the one weekend where someone's coming and they have not come to church in years or maybe ever, So doing everything we can to make a space where someone can come and hear the gospel message is paramount. So obviously we're LDs, we love lights, but the ultimate goal is helping someone hear the gospel and receive the saving message, right? So but yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll jump into a little bit of a programming session here, just to show you how quickly just good color combos can be created. So we'll switch over. Frank's setup here, we're using the NX Touch. It's an Onyx NX Touch, as well as Capture. So Capture is a visualizer software which can patch into most any lighting software. So Lightkey, Onyx, MA, Vista, pretty much anything. And that allows you, if you are pretty Q intensive every weekend with your service, you can program from home and you can create your stage, your 3D room, and you can sit at your desk at your home listening to music and programming there. You don't always have to go to the lighting desk to make your scenes. So Capture is a tool to do that. If you have more questions about Capture, you can let us know or talk with someone over here at PCL and we can guide you with that. So that's what you'll be seeing here. It's the NX Touch, which is the program or the software control, and then the visualizer is Capture. So we'll go ahead and switch over to that and we'll create some scenes based on some backgrounds Frank has preloaded.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's jump into a color scheme here. So, okay. So we'll go ahead and switch to this slide real fast. So you'll notice that in this slide right here, there is a lot of purple. There's a lot of there's like some lighter blues in this slide here on our slide deck. So now I'm going to go ahead and create a lighting look with this. So you'll notice here that I have a virtual stage. I have my front lights here on my visualizer. Okay. Now I'm going to keep these off for now, and I'm going to have my house lights here. So again, if you have color mixable house lights in your rig, consider using them for helping make these atmospheres. So we're not advising or advocating for house lights being like, crazy and different colors during the message, but utilize it during worship. So a lot of blues. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have these be a nice cyan color, okay, for my house lights as I'm here. Now, let's go ahead and let's bring up our kick lights. So I'm gonna bring up my kick lights, bring them to full, okay. Now, color-wise, let's go ahead and let's grab these and let's do a purple. I think that looks nice. Now, I'll grab my R2X fixtures here in this rig, and I'm going to do a nice cyan, and then I'm gonna bring up the intensity. Okay, now I'll go ahead and create a nice, here we go, whoop, yeah, so much. We'll start here. Just a nice floor kick and kick light up top. Now, I'll throw this out here too, that I do have profile style fixtures and they do a great white. So since there's white in this, even though our rule is try to stick within 2, sometimes it's okay to utilize like things with that is within the color mix here. So I actually will keep that in for this look, okay? Now let's go ahead and grab these and let's have them tilt to the crowd a little bit. Okay, now like that, let's bring those in, my wall lights there. Okay, actually I think I'll do cyan. Looks nice. And now,
so as he's doing this, you can see how quickly he's able to create looks, all from just looking at that one background. He did not have anything saved for this preset other than just, right, Frank? Like,
yeah, not at all. I literally was able to look at the motion background for inspiration, and I was quickly able to ascertain, like, okay, got some blues here. Let's grab that. We got some nice purples. Let's grab that. So now, having your motion background play on your LED wall, your projection screen, your TVs as you're programming can be a really helpful tool to help you try to dial in your lighting so that way it matches the color background as best it can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So also the lighting package size, depending on your size church, it may look big, it may look small, it may be right on. Don't let that get in the way of allowing you to just visualize what color can do for your stage. You know, with the visualizer here, we do have a lot of lights in it, but once again, that is it's just to show you different things. Just apply the formula here or the process of developing light. Maybe your church only has wall wash lights and you have 4 of those on the back wall or maybe a set piece. That's totally fine. You know, it's a lot quicker, obviously, to choose colors for those. But if you want to also then create layering, you know, those wall wash bars matched with maybe some more narrow beam fixtures in between them, you can now have a narrow beam of a different color, allowing you to create just a little bit different look. And that would be a quick and easy way to build your lighting system and just allow you more scenes and more creative opportunities in your lighting setup. But once again, don't let the rig size scare you away. You know, if you're a small church, just think through your setup and apply the concepts here to that.
I love that too. I was going to mention, so believe it or not, I did not start on the biggest lighting rig ever. You know, at a young age, pretty much, yeah, middle school. Many of you that are on this call or who are watching in the past here, I mentioned I started doing lighting back in middle school. So very kind volunteers able to let me sit with them in the tech booth, hang out, ask questions, and eventually it was like, hey, I need someone to run lights. You want to sit at the lighting desk? And I got invited in. So just to let you know, very humble beginning, and all I had at the time was literally analog DMX board, very simple, and just par cans with some gels. So I would change out gels every Wednesday night for youth group, and trying to pick out colors that would help make different looks and intentional color schemes. So yeah, as an encouragement to you, you know, just because you have a very simple lighting rig, don't discount yourself thinking I can't make a really powerful worship atmosphere. Like, you certainly still can. It's all about utilizing what you got.
Yep,
Yeah.
Utilize what you have. Yeah, absolutely, and be creative. You know, of course, when you do have budget, you know, you want to get your foundations right first. If you're a church with no lights or track lights only, and just very basic, simple lighting setups, you know, get your foundation set first. Focus on your front wash light, right? Like, get that nailed. You need to be able to light the people on stage, just like we're standing here on a stage. That our body needs to be lit first and foremost. That's going to improve the quality of our live stream. It's going to allow people in the congregation to see us. That is number one foundation above all. Next would be a backlight fixture that's positioned up and behind me. So that would be a number 2. If you have front light and backlight, next thing to do would be wall wash or some type of creative fixture on the floor, or anything that then starts moving into more set pieces or atmospherics would be your third priority. And then from there, you can continue to grow your lighting size. But it is definitely most important to get those foundations nailed. So Frank will go and do another one here, just so you can see how quickly, based on just showing him a graphic on the machine, a motion background, and I believe these are from...
Yeah, I actually grabbed these off of cmg.com and visualrevival.com. Those are both really great websites for motion backgrounds. So
we'll pop up our next color scheme. It's just a picture of planet Earth here.
Yeah.
And he'll create something from that. So you'll notice these aren't super vibrant. A lot of backgrounds out there are just very vibrant. Just know that. I think right now trend is definitely these more, I don't know what color you would call it. It's just more, I don't know, brighter whites, lighter colors. That is definitely a trend right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so right here, I'm looking here, there's some nice, I would say kind of like lavender and indigo. There's like a little, if you look kind of like in the land here, or I think it's land, there's like kind of a almost amber here. So those are a couple spots I think that's kind of interesting. So I'll just try, as I'm programming, to try to capture some of that. So I like that lavender feel. I'll go ahead and mix my kick lights here. Let's go ahead and do kind of let's go ahead and do a nice, let's try to do that. Try to get that, kind of like that. That's cool to me. And as I go, yeah, again, this is how, get some reps as you're programming lights, make it an exercise, have some fun. I remember one of my youth group students, when I was a youth pastor in training, now he's doing lighting professionally, which is kind of cool. I would hang out with him and I kind of would drill him of like, hey, you see inspiration here, buddy? On like if we're walking around at the mall, or like if we are doing, working on something together. Okay, I like that. Let's go and go here. Okay, I like that. I like this crisscross there. That's nice. Let's go ahead and add some colors to this. Okay, and we'll talk about this in a second. So when you do these color changes, try to make sure they're as smooth as possible, like making sure your transitions are clean. Okay, so I'm gonna just bop through these different presets here. Try to find some I like. Okay. So yeah, I like there to be a little bit of contrast here. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay. I think I'll do that. Or maybe I'll go, yeah. Try to do something like that. I kind of like that. Okay, so made a look real fast, literally just from observing this slide right here.
Yeah, so you have a little bit of white in there, a little bit of that, it's like a lavender color, and it looks nice and clean and fresh, and with the motion background placed on the screen or any other visuals you have in the space, like that's a very nice look, and you can then use intensity during your worship set. You can start only with a single color. You can then turn that color off and go to your white and back and forth. And then for your builds, you can introduce all of the fixtures at once. So it's once again, keep it simple. That is going to make your lighting look better. I mean, I don't know if I have another word than that. It's going to look cleaner, more professional, and less distracting. If Frank went in there and had 4 different colors, if I look at this picture, I see like little blue, I got purples, I got whites, and then I have like these darker, like it's almost like I don't want to call it amber, but it's like a sand tone.
Right.
It's just too many colors.
Right.
Now also, if you have color changing house lights, that's a great way to just extend the color palette that's on stage into the house rather than running them just at white. If you do have those color changing house lights, running those at low intensities and changing them with the worship songs to match, that's a very simple way to just extend that stage atmosphere into the congregation. So we're going to move on. We'll color scheme 3. It looks like just a star. I'm going to skip that. I want to talk a little bit about maybe some additional programming things within color that you may be having, more the issues when changing colors within your lighting system. One thing that happens a lot, unfortunately, and it's such a simple fix, is to create mark cues. So maybe you have moving heads or fixtures with gobo wheels in them.
Color wheels too.
Color wheels, and when you change between song 1 to song 2 and it's going to a different color scheme, you have this spin happen and you see like 4 or 5 different colors really quick before it lands. That is a very common problem we see all the time in churches, and you can fix that so quickly and remove that distracting element. So if you do have fixtures with color wheels, there is a way to fix that, and I'm going to toss it over to Frank, and he's going to kind of share things you can do for this weekend service coming up to get rid of that issue once and for all so you don't see the color spin at your transitions.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'll go ahead and play this cue here for us. Okay, so as you were saying before, mark cues, essentially what mark cues are moving blacks, it's kind of, you can use either term. Mark cues essentially is a lighting scene, a lighting cue that helps get your lights into the position, the color schemes, without it being made visible to the people sitting in the congregation or in the audience, if you will, okay? So right now on my visualizing software here, I programmed here, let's go ahead and let's do a quick demonstration of what tried to avoid. So I play this back, and notice that my stage is now lit, okay? And then if I go, oops, go, do my messy transition. Okay, so not too bad. I have my lights turn on, they get into the position, that's completely fine. But watch what happens when I go to my next scene, or basically stop the lighting look, okay? You'll notice that my fixtures swing back to their home position. You see the color wheel change, okay? So especially with profile style fixtures that have a color wheel or gobo wheel, if you miss or forget to program the next scene, thinking about like how are you getting to the next location, you can experience these messy transitions. Okay, so just for a demonstration on like what a cleaner transition would look like, it would be something more so like this. Okay, so again, starting with a very simple, hey, just front light on, no big deal. Okay. Now notice that you did not see the fixtures position themselves, you didn't see them change color, okay? Now, I'll go ahead and I will move to my next scene, okay? So, I intentionally am leaving my kick lights on as kind of like a nice like transition point, okay? And it's hard to see it on my visualizer, but I programmed in my software a move in black cue to get my lights into position. So softwares like Vista, MA, softwares that have tracking that process built into the software, you can turn this function on, or you can actually by hand build these transition cues, okay? So if you're using light key, it does not mean you're not able to still have these nice transitions. It's all about thinking ahead, how are you getting in and out of your lighting cues, okay? Meaning making sure as I black out, I have a transition built in where my lights will go into position while not getting out into the congregations and their eyes. Now, play. Notice how like my fixtures here, they're all at this kind of straightforward, blinder, glory, big moment of the song, okay? Now, let me go ahead and I'll hit back just to show you again, okay? Okay, transition to my transition cue here, okay? Now I went a little early, so you did catch a little bit of that swing, which is still a cool look no matter what, okay? Now, I'll go ahead and go back here, let my fixtures get into position. Now, as I hit play, they are in the position without it being made known to the congregation, okay? So that's a demonstration of a mark cue and MIB in action.
Yeah, so once again, if you have fixtures with color wheels, or maybe you don't want to see the movement, do the extra step, make them move in black cue or the mark cue, and that will get you into your next song distraction free, so you don't have a light spinning. And this is more particular with moving heads, right? Like if you have a static lighting system, meaning like no moving heads, you're not going to see this issue as much. Now, sometimes on some LED fixtures, you will see color shifts and things like that happen if you have really abrupt changes, but sometimes it actually works as a nice element. So,
yeah, absolutely.
You probably don't need to do move in black or mark cues for those, but more if you're a church that has moving heads or want to move into moving heads, there are little specific things you need to do to just help smooth out the transitions as you're going between colors or positioning.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I'll add this too, that, for me and Craig here, we're lighting guys, so we don't mind lights swinging out and getting into the crowd from the front row, we probably invite that actually. But yeah, being intentional and making sure your fixtures get into position and don't get out into the crowd too much, that can really be helpful to help reduce distractions and people doing like one of these road to Damascus
right.
blinded moments.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do, that's always a touchy subject, right? Is doing sweeps of the congregation, letting lights go into people's eyes. If you do that, well, one, you should experiment it with your self. Sit in the chair, see what it does. But intensity is where it comes down to, right? You never want to swing something. It's not a rock concert. So at 100%, and we're doing a big sweep, it's going to probably hurt some people's eyes. So dropping that intensity to 20% or 10%, you can still accomplish, or 5% or whatever allows you to still make that moment and do the sweep. Like play with intensities.
Yes. I'll add to, in my experience as an LD, gobo fixtures, profile fixtures with the ability to zoom out wide and make really soft patterns. You know, you can make some really, really beautiful looks with the right intensity and have them out in the congregation a little bit without it being very offensive to eyes, which is really cool. I would recommend to you, people are tuning in, to, avoid doing like Sharpie, like really sharp looking beams out in the crowd, especially parking them and having them point out to the poor old lady in the front row. Never done that before. JK.
So those are just some things you can do as far as color wheel issues and that type of thing. Once again, with color, keep it simple. I think if anything, the biggest takeaway that you can walk away with is keep it simple, 1 or 2 colors, use motion backgrounds as your starting points, make sure those are always playing nice together. Talk with the pro presenter volunteer. If you're doing both, well, it's even easier. So keep keeping it simple. For everyone watching, go ahead and submit questions if you have them, anything lighting wise. We're not going to get into video or audio here. We don't do that. The company is Pro Church Lights. The name says it all. So pop some questions in there if you have any. As far as color is concerned, going back to the top of what we discussed, is color affects thought or mood. So there are definitely right and wrong colors to use at specific times. I never want to say, well, that's wrong to do. That's never the case. Right. Lighting is technical, it's art, and no matter what you do, it's never wrong, but there's definitely ways to do it with excellence.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're just trying to drive it home. And also, everyone's busy, right? So to be able to produce looks quicker is also something that is important, just to be efficient. As far as color goes, Frank, what other thoughts do you have? And then I'm going to look through some questions here, both online and offline, and see where we go next.
That's great. So in terms of color, and this made me kind of, again, I apologize, I feel like kind of getting into a little bit maybe programming philosophy a little bit. So something that you guys can consider when you're creating your looks, and again, your rig might be fairly big or it might be pretty minimal, and that's completely okay. Definitely would encourage you to consider, just to say it again, consider the feeling that color can help create, and also don't be afraid to like maybe save using a certain group of lights in your rig for a song. So sometimes, like going into the keep it simple, sometimes some of the most impactful and beautiful worship lighting looks that I ever been able to create has been, believe it or not, like a single cue or 2 cues.
Absolutely.
Like very minimal and very simple, like nice kick lighting, a little bit of front light, especially for songs like maybe more congregational style songs where the congregation is meant to be kind of like the worship leaders. Those can be really powerful and really cool moments of doing very simple, beautiful lighting with the warm ambers, And I'll throw this out there too, not to get into too much into it. Might sound shocking, but if you want to help reduce and help it be as extra minimal, just for me a song, you can consider actually bypassing using a motion background and just using black and then lyrics.
Yes, absolutely.
Very simple, very beautiful though.
Yep. So we have some questions here. We're going to get to these 3 that just came in. So Jose, his question was, which is better, intensity of lights, pulsating, or moving lights? So it sounds like that could be maybe you own some moving fixtures, you have them in the rig, or you're looking to maybe invest in some moving lights, or maybe more static. I don't think there's a better, so intensity of lights, pulsating, or moving lights. I think each of those effects, essentially, that you describe, depend on the moment of what is going on. Now, if, those go hand in hand. So definitely moving lights are going to create more of a immersive experience, especially if you add haze. We like to always say if you're going down the route of adding moving lights to your lighting system, haze is a natural fit. Otherwise, you're just not going to see the light beam. So when you're looking at this visualizer right now that we have running, you can see the light beams. If you're not hazing your room, this would look totally different. And Frank, go ahead and dial down the haze in the visualizer, which you just did. So yes, so you can see the difference and then bring it back up. And haze is what's accomplishing that. You could also see the pulsating washes in here doing it as well. So neither is better. There's probably more of a natural progression. If you just want to create a bigger look faster, moving lights for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hopefully that answers your question, Jose. Anything, Frank, to add to that?
Yeah, not to cut you off. Apologize. Yeah, totally. So when it comes to doing effects and doing effects during songs, I definitely, again, it's not a hard, fast rule, but what generally kind of goes down, just the nature of worship songs, typically during like the, choruses and the bridges, instrumentals, that's like when there's a little bit, I would kind of call it like, it feels bigger musically, there's more action, it just, the feeling, the emotion shifts. So when you're doing lighting, and what I try to encourage people with is like, try to have your lighting match the moment versus like having your lights go into strobe and doing all these crazy things during a verse, because like, that could be, if you can imagine that moment, or I don't know, I may have done that at some point in my life, in my career. But yeah, like having a lot of motion, pulsating, and movement during a verse could actually be kind of distracting, but then, the different part of the song where it goes into the chorus, or there's a progression in the song, that could be a really cool and impactful and immersive part that you can add in.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, as lighting techs, we're all trying to reduce comment cards too, right? So we all experience the same thing. We try to reduce the comment cards.
Yes.
If you add haze, you'll get some comment cards. That's true for every church across the nation who has added haze to that room.
We should do a segment of we read of comment cards. Anyway.
Okay, a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap this up for today. So Mark, you asked, what software are we using to simulate the visual effects? Is this something that can be purchased off the shelf? Absolutely. So the software we're using is Capture. You can get that licensed through Pro Church Lights right here. And we also do training. Capture is a pretty in-depth software, but it will connect to anything you're using. If you message in there, you can let us know what system you're currently on as far as like MA or Onyx or Vista or Lightkey or whatever software you're using. Just put that in the comments here. I just like to know what you're using. But it can attach to any software.
Yes.
It's Capture is the name of it, and then you just buy a license based on how many DMX channels you need to control. So 512, 1024, however many channels you have is the license key that you would need. So yeah, it's great if you want to sit in the living room and program lights from home, or if you just work from home a lot more. Let's see, we have ProPresenter and Lightkey. So yeah, Mark, so Visualizer can work with Lightkey.
Yeah.
I would say, Capture is definitely something where the bigger lighting rig, the more it makes sense to probably invest in Capture. It's not like a $99 program.
Correct.
So Capture, I think, starts at
I want to say, so the
like a 512 license.
Yeah, 512 is like, I want to say around 500.
So yeah, so you're about $500 to make that investment.
Yes.
So you have to justify that's a decent investment for software.
Yes, correct. I have the Symphony license, which gives me unlimited universes, and that was, I want to say I paid like $3K.
Yeah, so $3K for the system that we have kind of here, and you can see that on the screen. So we're doing this live, where the two machines you see in front of Frank, one is the Onyx machine, and the second one is the Capture machine. So we're creating these looks live with you right now. These aren't canned videos, we're just rolling, it's all live.
Yep.
Okay, Steven. Hey, Steven from Jamaica.
Oh, Steven?
Good to see you online here.
Good to see ya.
You said, my question is, how do you get Craig and Frank lit without washing out your background? Yeah, so you can see that. So we have the front wash on here. We're probably about 15 feet from the screen behind us. Our lights are at
That range still.
within that range, yeah. So lights are in the sweet spot, but really in this space, the stage is so deep that that we have no issues with covering just our bodies and
Correct.
keeping everything off the background. The background you see, it's rear projected, and so there's projectors behind the screen, and I could walk another 6 or 7 feet behind me and still not have any light hitting the screen if that were to tilt up. So it's if you have a very if you have a stage that isn't deep, it's difficult to not have light always splash the background. You would have to get your lights at a more steep angle, but what this starts to introduce is more shadows. So the steeper you go, you'll start to get the raccoon eyes, you'll get bigger shadows under the chin. So that is what you will have to find, that happy medium, and sometimes you can't fix both, right? So you just have to figure out what's most important based on that, and it does sometimes take a little experimentation, moving the light positioning. But yeah, if you're on a stage that's 5 feet deep, like there's really no way around it. You're going to have light on your backdrop.
Yeah.
An alternative to that is you can go with an LED wall or something that just is punching
Reduces.
through a little bit more.
Right.
But you would still see stuff on there.
Yeah.
Jennifer, real quick, says, how do I schedule a consult? We'd really like to get an estimate. So yeah, if you're looking for an estimate or anything, you can just email us, Craig at Pro Church Lights or Frank at Pro Church Lights. That would come directly to us. We would then submit that into our support team and our lighting experts there. They can go ahead and assist you with that. If you haven't done a visual consult, I encourage you to do that. We take the pictures you submit to us and we'll produce we'll produce a large custom-made lighting plan for your church based on the pictures you send in. So that's $59, I think, right now. I think we're running a special until the end of July. So if you have not done that, I encourage you to do that. That would help you. But yeah, if you're just looking for a consult, you can call the number. You can even text our number that's on the website, and a lighting expert at Pro Church Lights will get in touch with you. For Mark, you have Pro Presenter and LightKey. Again, we already addressed this. I just want to mention, if you look on YouTube, we just pushed a video out yesterday. If you want to connect Pro Presenter to LightKey, maybe you just want to trigger lighting cues via Pro Presenter, we just released a 2-minute video. You can be up and running with that in 2 minutes. Check that out if you want to make that Pro Presenter to LightKey connection. And let's see here. You write, what is better for your front rush, Fresnel or ellipsoidal? Frank, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, totally. I would say, well, okay, I guess question for you would be,
and then like 3 minutes, and then we're done, and you guys can be on your way.
That's great. Yeah. So the short version of it is, if your room, your space, or your sanctuary is fairly small, or the ceiling is fairly low, I would then submit to you to consider doing Fresnel style fixtures, because what they do, they make a very nice, soft, even wash of light. It's real easy to focus them onto a stage. Now, if your room is larger, spaces that I started out, well, my middle school years, the auditorium I worked at in my first church was very large. It held, I want to say, like 3,500 people at capacity. So in a space like that, I used ellipsoidals, because ellipsoidals are designed to shoot further distances without basically dissipating, everywhere. So. Yeah. Short
Absolutely.
answer, smaller space, consider Fresnels. They can also work to medium-sized spaces. Larger spaces, I'd submit to you, consider ellipsoidals.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, there's not a better one. Fresnel is not better than ellipsoidal for the front wash. It's more based on what does your room look like, size of the room. The goal, yeah. More importantly, I think with those two fixtures is a Fresnel or an ellipsoidal, you can shutter, or you have barn doors, you can shape your beam, you can adjust your beam width. That is most important. If you're a church that just has PAR 64 cans from 1963, there's no control. That is like just deer in headlights. We are in 2022 now, so there's definitely a lot better options than there have been for a long time. So Fresnel, ellipsoidal, those are definitely what you want. Any type of par fixture that just doesn't have barn doors or shuttering,
Yep, exactly.
not a great fit for a front wash because you're just
Right.
splashing light everywhere and it doesn't produce nice, beautiful light.
Right.
So we're at 1250 Central here. Thank you guys and gals for jumping on the line and joining us live. We do this every month so all of you on this, you'll receive the recording of this. Please reach out to Pro Church Lights at any time. We are here for you, seriously. Like, I don't know if I can emphasize that enough. Like, we are here to help the church create a distraction-free worship environment. Like, that's our goal.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and like Craig mentioned this before, that like, yeah, we're very interested and we want to go on journeys with churches. And honestly, even looking at some of the people that signed up for this, I smile to myself because there's churches that I've been able to come alongside, help, like Stephen, like, man, being able to help work with him, that was a really cool opportunity for me and situation. So thank you so much, Stephen, and the many friends and family we made through Pro Church Lights. So yeah, we're very interested in serving you, building community, and helping further the gospel. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.